This past week, we've highlighted Lakeland past and present. We also learned how urban renewal displaced residents and separated the town. In our final segment for Black History Month, we take a look at what the future holds for the College Park community.
Renters and students that come in, they don't have any knowledge of the history or the struggle that the communities have. They just looking for a place for a semester or a year.
Today, Lakeland properties are being bought up by investors and turned into rentable units for college students. After all, it's within walking distance of nearby University of Maryland.
The house next to me, the people are coming and going. You don't get to know them. You don't know just who's living there, but when you have community, you have an idea who's on the next street. You can, call them if there's a need.
There used to be a little small modest house here, but as you'll see in the last few years, this was built. The community was told that it was going to be a family, but it's clearly not. It has more than 5 bedrooms, more than 5 bathrooms, huge kitchens on each floor, and houses quite a number of students.
Maxine Gross talks about what she'd like to see in the future for Lakeland, a community that's creative in how properties are used.
I'm hoping that it's beginning to happen already. We're working with the city right now on beginning to develop a plan for Lakeland.
This last year we took an important step in recognizing the legacy of urban renewal in the Lakeland community, our historic African American community in College Park, to work to address the disparities that still exist, the impact that urban renewal had and the displacement in the African American community.
Each section of the schedule is a block of the Lakeland community.
So from what I'm looking at, it looks like a huge number of people lost their houses.
2/3 of the community. What we would like to see is some creativity be utilized in how the properties are used, that we retain the character of the community but develop in a way that's in harmony with what the community is and has been.
Residents are discussing the concept of a land bank, where an inventory of original Lakeland homes is managed by municipal authorities. They're also looking at ways to encourage home ownership.
Things like auxiliary dwelling units, that those could be done in the area. The lots are generally rather large, but to tie the use to home ownership, that the homeowner would need to be on premise in order for that use to take place. And if the property owner leaves the premise, then that use would be abolished.
She'd like to retain its historic character, but develop a harmonious way to bring together the old with the new.
Get a consultant to get some of the best minds to start thinking about, okay, this is what we have now. What can we do to create a productive, healthy community for the future?
We have begun and are continuing this long process of restorative justice, exploring the ways that we can, to the greatest extent possible, make the Lakeland community whole and address that harmful legacy.
While this series was in production, Lakeland residents say they learned they would be displaced once again under a new legislative redistricting map. That map, which was dictated by county council boundaries, was overturned by the court. The council is currently appealing that decision.